Hey guys, Rob from Champ here, and I'm doing this video on different types of proteins and a couple of different products just because a few people have asked in the store and via email and Facebook about what protein's best or what protein product is the best on the market. And I'm here just to basically clear up a few points. First, there is no best protein product on the market. Anyone that says, oh, this is the best protein, period, they're speaking in absolutes. And if anyone speaks in absolutes, they're probably an absolute moron. I mean, there are really great products out there now. In personal opinions, some people might say one is better than another based on protein content, protein sources, macronutrient profile. But again, you can't definitively say that one beats every other product on the market. So just completely clearing that up in the first place. But now I'll go into a couple of different things. More or less, I'll start with what types of proteins you'll find in protein powders nowadays. First, you have whey. You have two different forms of it usually. You'll have either isolates or concentrates. Isolates are the really pure, stripped down forms of whey. Basically, it's 90% or higher in terms of overall protein content, high biological value, rapidly absorbed. It's been stripped of all of its carbs, fats, lactose. So it's a really good quality protein. It's very, very easily digestible. And usually it's very low calorie, so it's great if you're dieting and if you're trying to be mindful of other macronutrients such as fats and carbs. Then you get the whey concentrates. Usually they're about 80% pure. I mean, that's still a really high overall value. You have a high biological value. Usually there's a couple myths behind whey concentrate. A lot of people say it's inferior to isolates. It depends on how you look at it. It's almost relative. It's a great amino acid profile, but you have some carbs and some fats because there's still a slight amount of lactose and fat that hasn't been removed. However, you're getting some benefits from those. From the fats, you're getting different immunoglobulins. That helps with overall immune health, and that's why whey has been linked to actually being beneficial to the human immune system. The carbs, I mean, they're trace carbs and they're lactose. Unless you have some sort of lactose intolerance, there's no need to shy away from whey concentrate. It's still one of the best proteins on the market, and it's very cost effective. So that's why if you look at a label and the first type of protein in a blend or in the actual powder itself is concentrate, it doesn't mean it's an inferior product. It means they're trying to keep the price down a little bit while still giving you a quality protein source. Next, you'll have egg. Usually it's egg albumin on any ingredient profile. They'll usually take egg whites and extract the albumin, basically dry them out, and then you have egg protein powder. Eggs are obviously some of the best proteins from nature. I mean, if you eat a whole egg, you're getting a very, very high biological value from that. Egg whites, slightly lower biological value than a whole egg because there's certain vitamins, minerals, essential fats that are found in the yolk that are removed. But at the same time, it's very easily digested. It's lactose free, so if you have a lactose intolerance, it's always a good option to have egg in there. And it's a little bit slower digesting than whey. Whey is usually anywhere between a half hour to roughly over an hour in terms of overall digestion and getting into the bloodstream. Egg, usually I would say estimates are between 1.5 to 4 hours, so it's classified as a moderate digestion rate. So it's a good quality protein source. I mean, obviously if you can, I would recommend just eating egg whites or whole eggs, whether it be cooking with them or using pasteurized ones in a shake, or again, cooking with those. But at the end of the day, quality protein powder, and it's usually incorporated in a lot of blends because it's cost effective. Next, you have casein. You have different forms such as sodium caseinate, calcium caseinate, and then you have micellar casein, which is very, very fine types of casein. More or less, the way casein works is it reacts with the low pH environment in your stomach, and it kind of coagulates or curdles, depending on what you like to classify it as more. And it's going to theoretically slow down the digestion process to give you a trickle of amino acids into the bloodstream. That's why it's been commonly advertised as a bedtime protein. But a lot of companies, they throw it in a blend just because it kind of rounds everything out. It's cost effective. It also helps improve satiety, so you feel a little more satisfied because of the fact that it's sitting in your stomach for a little while. It doesn't rush right out of your system, and it's, again, providing that slow amino acid drip into your bloodstream. Now, there's a couple different proteins out there that I'm not going to say they're poor, but they definitely could be better, and I wouldn't put them in the same league as whey, egg, or casein. First, I'll start with different plant-based proteins, with the main one being soy. I mean, soy is demonized because apparently, oh, if you take in soy, your estrogen's going to skyrocket and you're going to get gyno from it. Well, that's a myth. I mean, that's people exaggerating. Is it a good quality protein? I wouldn't say it's bad, but I wouldn't say it's great. There are better options. Now, if you're a vegan or if you have certain dietary restrictions, obviously that's one protein powder you might have to go with, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a quality source of protein. It's just the amino acid profile isn't optimal based on how humans metabolize amino acids. It's low in leucine, and that's considered the most anabolic amino acid because it's the key initiator of protein synthesis in human skeletal muscle. So other than those, it's not really that bad. It has a pretty decent biological value. It's higher than most other plant-based proteins such as rice, pea, and some other proteins that are out there. And then finally, the one that I'm going to get to, it's picked up a lot of heat lately, and it's kind of, I'm not saying it's a hot button issue, but a lot of people tend to talk about it now. It's beef isolate. Now, gram for gram, based on the amount of steak that you would have to eat to get a certain amount of protein, compare that to what you would have to get, how much milk you would have to drink. The cost of steak's a hell of a lot higher than the cost of whey or any milk-based products. So how a company could possibly be taking beef isolate, extracting it from red meat, quality red meat, and putting it into a protein powder, I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible, it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, and something doesn't seem kosher. And there's a few people out there, including Patrick Arnold, who believe that it's not actually beef that you're getting when they're advertising it as beef isolate. What you're actually getting is the leftover parts of the cow, more or less the carcass that they don't want to use for any types of cuts of meat. So what they do is they crush all that up and then basically heat it up, and then you're left with something called gelatin. And I'm sure everyone knows what gelatin is. That's the main source of protein in any beef isolate-based product. So it's not a complete source of protein. It lacks essential amino acids. It's very low in leucine, and I would actually put some plant proteins ahead of it in terms of the overall quality of it. It's not a great protein source, and that's why companies will typically add certain free-form amino acids, branch-chain amino acids into there to try and raise the overall profile. But at the same time, I still don't view it as a quality source of protein, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea to use a beef isolate if you want to switch it up for the sake of switching it up. I'm not going to knock any particular products because I know the companies that make them are usually very solid and stand-up companies, but I just don't see how anyone could possibly have a true beef isolate product on the market at a relatively affordable price. So as far as products go, there are a couple different options out there. I mean, right now I would say my favorite one in overall taste, and just because it fits my macronutrients for what I'm doing in terms of my diet, I-Force Protein. It's going to be a little more expensive than some other products out there, but at the same time, you're paying for the quality that you're expecting. It's 20 grams of protein per scoop, 4 grams of fat, 3 grams saturated, but it's all from MCTs or medium chain triglycerides. So it's actually a healthy saturated fat. It's actually good for providing energy when you're on a low carb diet. And I mean, overall, it's a great product. It's low carb. It's about 120 calories per scoop. I mean, a lot of people say 20 grams is relatively low, but you don't need a whole lot of protein in one sitting to generate protein synthesis. 20 grams is still going to generate roughly the same amount of protein synthesis as 30 or 35 grams. So that's one product that I use, and I think it's one of the best tasting ones out there. Another good product out there is Fusion 7 by Dymatize. It can be used as a meal replacement. I mean, it's a versatile protein because, again, it's another multi-blend, just like Protein. It uses whey concentrates, whey isolates, egg albumin, milk isolate, which is 80% casein and 20% whey by weight. It's about 23 grams of protein per scoop, 6 grams of fat. Most of it's unsaturated, so they're all healthy fats. And then it's 11 grams of carbs, but 5 of those are dietary fiber, so that's why it's a great meal replacement. Helps keep you satisfied. Fiber is a very thermogenic food, and it can actually help with generate internal core heat from thermogenesis, which is one of the main things that actually helps with burning body fat. As far as just pure whey isolates or just pure whey products go, I mean, Dymatize whey, all their whey products are pretty solid. They're mostly concentrates with some isolates thrown in there. ISO 100, that's their hydrolyzed pure whey isolate. It's, well, depending on the flavor, because I know chocolate has 1 gram of carbohydrates, and as soon as someone sees 1 gram of carbohydrates, they have to freak out about it. But, I mean, overall, it's a great product. It's virtually carb and fat-free, about 25 grams of protein per scoop, 90% roughly protein by weight. There's a couple other good ones out there. I know that Myogenics has myelin. It's only 1 gram of net carbohydrates, and it's about 7 grams of fiber. They also add probiotics. Now, the only knock that I have with that is they put pea protein in their blend, and some people have complained of this stomach discomfort from that. It's not a great amino acid profile, but it could be worse. But it's also the last one in that proprietary blend, so there's probably not as much in there as there are the other proteins that they use, which are high quality whey protein, egg, casein. you'll notice the trend. The higher quality products that are multi-blends tend to use whey first, then a little bit of egg, and then casein, just so you get that fast and slow acting protein release, but at the same time you're still getting quality proteins. So those are some good products out there right now. I mean, Gaspari's Myofusion, I know they reformulated and have the Myofusion Elite out now. That's a great product. Good multi-blended source of protein. I mean, people have complained about the taste of the probiotic, at least some people did. And I know one of the big selling points now is, from what I understand, I've yet to try the product, but it's supposed to be phenomenal in terms of the taste. And then there's a couple other proteins out there that I would recommend to people, and those are probably, I would have to say, IDS's Multi-Pro. We actually stock it at Champ. We're running a deal on that right now for $26.99. Comes in a couple different flavors, and it's predominantly just whey, but at the same time, it's just a good quality protein powder. You know, you're not getting any filler, and it's about 23 to 24 grams per scoop. It's a great product. But as I said, those are pretty much all my personal favorites. Personal preference comes down to taste and more or less what you need for your dietary needs. Obviously, if you're looking for low carb, you want to stick with a more quality isolate product, but if you don't have any specific dietary restrictions or lactose intolerance, you can go with a multi-blended protein. And they're usually the ones that taste better and have a better texture simply because of the fact that they use multiple proteins. So I hope this was pretty informative for you guys. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this video for a little while now. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to shoot me an email at champnutritiontv@gmail.com. You can post questions on our Facebook page or in the comment section below. And anything that we can do to help you, that's what we're here for at Champ Nutrition. We pride ourselves on making sure that we're not just helping our customers figure out what they want, but making sure that they're doing everything they can to meet their goals. So I hope this helped out, and I'll probably see you guys in a little bit.